Another area of conflict is South Sudan. Joining us now with more on that is Africa 54's Ndimyake Mwakalyelye and Ndimi.
Well, thank you, Vincent. Delegates for South Sudan's government and rebels trying to overthrow it are considering a ceasefire proposal. Mediators with the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, a regional group of East African nations, presented their proposal to government officials in Juba hours after meeting with rebel forces in Ethiopia.
The mandate is to do everything possible in line with the communique of IGAD, which calls for the immediate cessation of hostilities and immediate commencement of talks. Now, what has prompted them to come here is that they are facing some difficulties with the other side, which seems to be demanding that before they can have any meaningful discussions, the detainees have to be released.
The rebels are insisting that 11 detainees being held by the government be released. The government says it can release them only after legal procedures are carried out. The violence in South Sudan has killed more than 1,000 people and forced about 200,000 from their homes. The United Nations Refugee Agency says the growing number of refugees has created a humanitarian crisis.
The situation of overcrowding, of heat, of insufficient water and sanitation, it's very, very tenuous for us to keep everybody healthy.
We are still under the trees, as you have seen other people. So we just live under the tree, no houses. And then many people, they are sick here, diarrhea and vomiting. So, and you know what, in a place where people are congested, there is no latrines, so people, they could just go around the bush, and then from there, they spread the disease.
South Sudan's unrest began December 15th, when renegade soldiers attacked an army headquarters. President Salva Kiir accused former Vice President Riek Machar of a coup attempt. Machar has called for the army to overthrow the president. Joining us now to talk more about the situation is Oliver Tunda, actually the founder of the South Sudanese community here in the Washington, D.C. area. So thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Tunda.
Thank you.
So 2 years ago tomorrow, January 9th, the South Sudanese voted to be an independent country. Here we are 2 years later, there are negotiations in Ethiopia to bring peace within South Sudanese. What happened, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, people expected this to happen. It is very unfortunate, but many people expected the situation to actually probably get worse than this, because there were some more important issues that were not addressed. Even if people voted for the independence of South Sudan, those issues were not addressed. So I think it was the responsibility of the government, after the agreement was signed, to bring the people of South Sudan together, sit down together and address those issues that were not addressed.
But now when you say that, because as I said, January 9th, there was this referendum and then elections were held just a few months later, July, and there was this independent nation. Why were these issues not resolved? Because a lot of times we're hearing about the incomplete agreements of the CPA, the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, but very seldom about the actual intricate ethnic complications within the South Sudanese community. Why were those not, addressed ahead of this?
I think there was a failure in part of the government and probably every South Sudanese, because South Sudanese themselves knew these issues, but they tried to sweep them under the carpet, thinking that all is okay. But no, here we are. We are back to square one. Had the government addressed those issues, we wouldn't have been to this, South Sudan wouldn't have found itself in this situation today.
And you say that for a lot of Sudanese, this was no surprise. The fact that now there are 1,000 people dead, so many displaced. And when you think about some of the discussions that were being brought to the table ahead of time, what do you think was missed in terms of how this should have been avoided? Was the international community maybe lax in understanding this? I mean, who's to blame for the fact that this continued to the point where things are now?
I think everybody is to blame, and probably the international community did not really know the complications within the South Sudanese, the ethnic
divisions.
They didn't know about that.
And then the fact that it's between the Dinka and the Nuer.
And the Nuer. No, it's not only between the Dinka and the Nuer. I would say it is all across South Sudan. If we said it is only between the Dinka and the Nuer, then we're making a mistake, because other ethnic groups are also having the same issues.
So tell me, what do you think can be done? Right now, there are negotiations trying to bring peace. You here in the diaspora, what are you contributing to try to resolve the situation so everybody's peaceful?
Yeah, our contribution is by talking. Of course, we are trying to reach out to the leadership in South Sudan.
Now, which leadership?
The same leadership that is now fighting with the opposition.
Mr. Kiir, the president?
Mr. Kiir, we are reaching to Mr. Kiir. We are reaching also to Riek Machar, so that both of them sit down together and a solution is found to the issue. One thing is that I think it is important that those who are detained, for instance, are released so that they also become part in the discussions about a way forward. So that's very important, that I think it should be done first. Yeah.
And you said as a community you're meeting this week?
We are going to meet, of course, this week, yes. We're going to meet a small number of people to discuss, of course, the current crisis and come up with a position statement that we will present to the international community as well as the leadership in South Sudan.
Well, we hope there'll be a resolve soon. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Oliver Tunda is the founding member of the South Sudanese community here in the Washington, D.C. area, and he joined us today on Africa 54.